Revilla played in the Revilla fracture zone before, because that's why the islands are there.
All right, and we're live. Hello, everybody. If that is anybody. I don't know why it's doing that. The update kind of really screwed my system up. Seems like every time it does that. I don't know why. But yep, full screen.
My volume's turned down to 84 again, so it always does that.
Well,
whenever it does an update, it changes the volume on the mic down for some reason.
Well, yeah, I've got you at about 40%, but your mic is really hot, so just so you're aware.
Hot mic, watch out!
Watch out!
Well, it was hot here today because it got to 82.
That's what I had, 82 today.
Yeah.
77, boys.
Yeah, but it was a dry heat though, so I don't mind that.
Absolutely, it's what I have, a dry heat. Although it feels like humidity was coming in. I'm going to look up COD. What the Chuck? Everything. I'm going to look up COD. Looks like Kansas getting kicked their butt right now. I've got some weather brewing over me, but it's in Mexico, so it's coming out of I hope not, man. I got to get on a train tonight.
Yeah, and the wildfires are bad in Manitoba there.
Manitoba.
That's a whole bunch of towns in the north.
That's just they lit those fires, you know that.
So they declared a state of emergency.
Yeah, they just want the people out of Manitoba so that they can take over Manitoba because they don't want it to leave Canada.
And the landslide wiped out that town in Switzerland today.
Yeah, I saw the video, dude.
Well, there's more coming down, though. That was just the glacier that came down.
Yeah, the glacier broke, and then the mountain. Yeah. Got a low pressure off southern Cal, Mexico, Baja. And lots of weather down in, I don't know, man. Lots of weather down in southern Mexico. Bunch of noise in Kansas, southwest Kansas, Colorado into Kansas. They're not happy right now.
There's a massive power failure north of me right now. They don't know why there's all the power's out.
Well, you're clear as a bell.
Yeah,
you're freaking clear as a bell, dude.
It's when it's nice weather, so I get it.
Too many people charging their Teslas.
Yeah, it could be. And it's where all the farms are and all the places that make all their food, so it seems kind of odd. If you're in the city, you got power, but if you're out in the countryside, you're out of luck. So I don't know what's going on with that. I said it's the Russians. I said they're taking out.
Yeah, you look clear as a bell up there, bud.
Yeah, I said they're taking out all the food areas, so I'm going to starve to death. Because that's where it is. It's where all the farms and stuff are here in the province. All the potato fields.
Yeah.
So I thought that's kind of odd. And Besty's husband works at McCain's, which he's one of the guys that makes all the pizza pockets. So he couldn't finish his shift tonight because he said, well, we've got no power. He said he can't do too much. I'm going home. So he did. He just got sitting in there in the dark with the emergency lights. And he couldn't run any of the ovens.
I don't blame him for that.
Yeah, he said, well, I'm going home. See you later. Good luck, boys.
Yeah,
but he was almost done his shift anyway. So he really couldn't do anything else.
Right.
Like he couldn't even clean anything up or do anything because all the ovens, nothing was working because there's no power. He said, well, I'm going home, boys. I don't know what you're doing, but see you later.
Yeah. No point in
So
sticking around.
Power's been out for, I don't know, up there 3 hours, I think. And like here, you can go to the power company and they'll say there's an outage, and they'll tell you what it is or how long it's going to be out, and they don't know what's causing it.
Yeah.
And they have no idea when it's going to be back. But yet here, where I am in town, and everything south of us going down towards the city is fine. So it doesn't make any sense. It's not even storming or anything, so it's kind of weird. Oh,
Crazy.
Now Joe's site just went down. I guess I shouldn't have said that, but the power.
What the heck?
So that was weird.
Yeah.
And how they shut off Joe's power. I shouldn't have been talking about it.
100%.
Because there's been all sorts of weird power outages and stuff. And stuff is getting blown up in Russia that's like over by Japan. So who's doing that? That can't be Ukraine firing stuff all the way across there.
Right.
There's all sorts of strange things going on.
Yep.
And supposedly Putin evacuated Moscow. And
Putin's getting ready to drop the hammer on them.
Yeah. And
what's that?
There was a big release today of all online of all where all the Russian secret bases are. So apparently it was hacked. So I don't know what that means.
Really?
Yeah. So they put it out online today. So I guess they got a whole new list of targets to shoot things at.
Huh.
So that's pretty crazy. So I don't know what's going to happen. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, that's crazy, bud.
Yeah, because the enforcers were
talking
about
new
that
link
earlier today. So, I don't know. So it's all...
I think we got another new link, bud. Did you just get a whisper from Joe or what?
Yeah, a little bit ago, because I was signed in with the link from last week, and he sent me the other one, so I switched to that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was in last week's, but he said he wasn't signed in.
Because I don't hear.
Make another one.
I don't hear Joe at all yet.
No, it's just you and me. I don't know what's going on because the site went down, the Twitch site. I don't know if it's. Sometimes I have to reload it to see if it comes back up. No.
Oh, he's still down.
Did the power go out there or something? Seems strange.
Oh.
He's not talking.
Yeah, I don't know what's up.
Oh, now he's calling me. So find out what happened. Hello? I guess I shouldn't have talked about power failures here. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, great. Well, I guess we won't be doing too much tonight. How long will that take? Yeah, because Luke and I are still on somehow.
Oh, we're just chatting away here.
Yeah, so
bunch of hands tackling.
Yeah, he said it did an OBS update, so he's got to reboot the whole thing. So we'll see what happens.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were just chatting away, and then all of a sudden you were gone completely. And I looked on Twitch and it was gone. So Luke and I are just keeping going because I was talking about all the weird power outages that are happening here, and I said, "Look, maybe we shouldn't have said that." I said last week. Yeah, so it's crazy. Phone's all crackly too. When you called me before, it wasn't that way. Maybe we're getting an X flare or something. Who knows? I never looked. Yeah.
Let me look.
Yeah, are we getting an X flare now or something? Because the phone's all crackly.
No, it's a B 7.08 currently.
No. Well, when Joe called me before, it wasn't all crackly, but it is now. Who knows what's going on?
It's just that time of day his phone sucks.
Yeah, maybe.
I think he's got his Wi-Fi on or something. I don't know what the hell's going on with his phone.
Well, I don't understand because when he called me before, it wasn't crackly. I don't know. There's weird stuff going on.
Yeah. I don't know.
Is it? Yeah.
Joe talking to you there, Canuck, or what?
Yeah, he's still talking. Yeah, he's trying to get it back up.
Da-da-da. All right, what happened?
Please stand by.
All right, hold on. Why is that going on? Mike Bridge, this is done, right? I don't have any video. All right, can you hear me now?
Yep. I can
All right, I'm hanging on the phone. Hang it up. All right.
Okay.
Bye. All right, can you hear me now?
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Sounds like
Turn
you're
your
in a tin
speakers
can,
down,
Mom.
Joe.
Sounds like he's in a tin can.
Yeah. Hold on.
Because he has his speakers on inside his house. Inside
Yes.
studio.
Shit. It won't shut off. Oh, right there. All right.
Well, it's better now.
I got to get my headset on now. All right. How we doing? We're still live, baby. Can you hear me now?
We're on, but Twitch isn't working.
Twitch is up. Oh, start stream. All right. Back online. Bing.
Yeah, she's
refresh. I don't know. Update right in the middle of this shit. I mean, come on.
No, it's the Russians.
It's the Russians. They're always Russian me.
Yeah. Putin didn't want me to mention it in any power outages. So.
Oh, Putin is in a sling, man. Did you hear what happened to Putin today?
Yeah.
They released where all their bombs are.
Oh yeah,
all their nuclear structure, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Got released today.
Well, they were already blowing up stuff over on the Japan side, so I don't know who's doing that.
What happened?
There's all their stuff's being blown up over in
China. China had some stuff blown up.
Yeah, China had stuff blown up too. Yeah. But Russia's getting all their other drone bases and everything else that they had way over on the eastern side next to Japan all getting blown up too.
Well,
that's I don't think that's Ukraine.
Well, Ukraine's doing it because they've infiltrated Russia 100%. So it's
I don't know. That's awful far east.
Yeah.
Stuff they have supposedly can't go that far.
No, they just put it in the back of a truck and drive it down there. They, don't take but rocket science.
I think Japan has joined NATO. I think that's what's happened with all their new crazy stuff. That
isn't Japan part of NATO anyway?
No, it's a different thing.
We should get the hell out of NATO anyway. It sucks. Yeah. But anyway, nobody else.
Well, if you read all the stuff they're doing, they're making new stealth fighters and new drones.
Oh yeah, they're arming up for sure.
So they're probably using all their stuff on Russia because they don't like Russia or China because they're still fighting over Kuril Islands up there yet.
Yeah.
Russia.
I don't. Russia
Oh.
took those, 2 years ago? Took it again.
Yeah.
Japan had an opportunity. They dropped the ball.
And now they've changed their thing where they're going to go offensive instead of defensive. Japan did just the last couple of years. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing all sorts of other stuff. And everybody's just saying, oh.
Right.
Nobody's paying attention.
Hey, there we go. We're all three the same now. I don't know.
Yeah. We're all just our logos.
All right. So I know we're live for 16 minutes, but hey, everybody. Sorry about the hiccups today.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, no shit, right? Today we're going to talk about Gigedo, the triple junction. Is it a true triple junction, Canuck?
Well, it is sort of, because that little plate is there. The Revilla
it's a micro plate, right?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the Explorer plate and the Gorda plate, except between the Cocos plate and the Pacific plate and North America plate.
I don't know what's happening here. If we get
it's going to make sense once we go more into it.
Oh, all right. So I'm trying to balance you guys with me. So, all right. All right. How's that?
Just to simplify everything coming up the EPR up Walker Lane goes around that little plate.
Is that the computer equivalent of a flasher? Sue.
Yeah, it just flashed by really quick.
No, but that one was.
That's what Putin looked like getting out of Moscow.
Yeah. Hey, everybody left freaking Moscow, man. Everybody of importance.
Yeah, they all went to the bunkers that just got all released today. So now that.
You know what's funny is everybody knew where they were going, because when they turn their tracker on, they go, "Oh, that's where they're at." Duh. Well, anyway.
So now they're shutting off random power all over the world.
Sue is kidding. She's playing with Walleye King. All right, get with it. Boy, I think I'm going to sleep on the train. In Revilla Gigedo, I've got a 5.9, a 5.4, a 4.2, 4.3, 4.3, a 4.3, 4.2, and a 3.9. That's what I have.
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 earthquakes off the coast of Mexico. Let me say, share this. This is where it went wiggy on me. Hang in there, everybody. Let's see. I was recording here. I'm not recording anymore. Show on stream. There we go. Okay, all of these right here, the red ones are the big ones. Big quakes today. Right there. Also, we got several small quakes in La Paz and a couple of good size quakes up in 4.3, 3.9, and a 3.4 and a 3.1 up in Baja, up the coast.
Yeah, because it seems to respond down there when that plate starts.
Right. Chicken legs is in play. Even Mexico City got a 1.5. Look, we got a series of quakes moving along the front coast range of Mexico. Also from, let's say near Guatemala, all the way over to Veracruz, a nice line of quakes that cutting an island or separating the Yucatan from Mexico. That's what I think is going on. But, hey, so Also, straight across the bottom, several quakes. So the red ones are 5s and above. The green ones are 1s and below, or 2s and below. The yellow ones are 3s, and the orange ones are 4s. So that's what's happening in Mexico right now. Why is all that happening in Mexico, you might say? Well, bumping over here, I guess we're still showing it. I don't know how that worked. We've got a couple of down here, Managua, 4-4 and a 4-6. We had some pretty good rock and rollers over here off this Puerto Rico. Let's go ahead and look at what we got here. This one was a weird one. 4.9 out in the middle. When that happens, I got to say, what's going on? And you can see several other quakes last couple of days. There's a reason I'm showing these. All this area is pretty active. Also, and the DR had a 4, and you can see southern Puerto Rico's banging away, and also up north of the trench or south of the trench. Not anywhere else.
Yeah, because to me, all that means right now, North America is bumping into the Caribbean plate, and
correct.
South America is pushing the Caribbean plate into
the Cocos plate.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Cocos plate's big time active. You see, Salvador has 5 quakes, and Nicaragua has 2. All right.
To me, that's because of the Drake Passage stuff.
Right. We'll get there. As they move down, Colombia's got a 4.8. That happened on the 22nd. Also, Ecuador, 4.3. That happened yesterday. Peru, it's rocking and rolling too. Interior is a 4.4, a 5.1, and offshore 4.6.
What's weird is both at the coast and
interior, right? At 5.1 and 5.0. Yeah, that tells me there's some really strong movement. Also, the armpit of South America, Peru, Chile, Bolivia border, banging away pretty good. Also, in the last week, we've had right here at the bottom, this is the Drake Passage that Canuck was just talking about. 5.0, 5.1, and a 5.0. That's the 23rd, 24th, and the 24th. Also, we do have one lone quake over here as Sandwich Islands that happened on the 25th. Today is the 28th. So we're looking at 7 days on the west. All right. So strong quakes happening throughout the west over the 7 days. A nice line of quakes in West Texas, New Mexico. Oklahoma's got a couple of bangers. There's one out here near New Madrid, Hayward, Missouri, and also Eastern Tennessee, another 2.1. Also way, way, way up here, 1.9 in Canada. That's north of Montreal in the Tres Rivieres, south of Quebec. Also, way on the coast, we've got a 1.6 in New Hampshire. Related, they are. Up in Iceland, couple of off the coast. Not in the normal area where it's erupting, right? This was on the 24th of 4.4, 4.3, and a 4.9. All happened on the 24th. That's the plate moving on this side. That's the plate moving on this side. Also, in addition, up by Jan Man, 4.3 that happened on the 26th. And then this one happened earlier today, 4.3. And then, of course, Svalbard, 4.5 that happened on the 21st. And on top of that, on top of the stinking world, way at the top, you can't hardly see them. There's 2 bangers up here, 5.1 and 4.8 that happened on the 26th. Okay? So this is the North American plate on this side. It's banging up here. It's banging all the way through here. It's banging up on the Caribbean plate. It's getting pushed right here. All of this activity is the Pacific plate being pushed. Look at the strong 1 week's worth of quakes moving into Alaska. A concentration here, right out here, and down here. So majority of the pressure being pushed there, some here and some here. If you look real carefully, you can see a little bit of a bow right there. All right. And the Juan de Fuca, well, pretty strong quakes moving through. Pushing right here. Also, in addition, pushing here. This is a strike slip here. This is a spreading ridge. This is a, I don't know, a crack in the plate. I don't know. What's the Gorda plate? It's a fracture zone. Is it a strike slip?
I'm not sure. Where it's on, right? Because it's the Mendocino fracture zone.
Yeah, Mendocino fracture zone, yeah.
And that's where the quakes are right now, but it's doing the same thing on the Rivera fracture zone.
Yeah, it's pretty close to a strike slip with another component added to it. Let me see. Quick. Let me see.
Wow, now that I've been studying those islands, it's making more sense to me. Because it depends on how it goes around it. Is it going to go up the Gulf of California, or is it going to go up the coast? And it has a lot to do with those islands.
Well, I think if it's banging in Costa Rica, it has a chance to go in through Texas. But if it's banging just on the coast, it probably will move in on the San Jacinto or Andreas or Elsinore.
Sometimes it does both.
Yeah.
Like the Rivera plate will break it and spread it two ways, which is basically what it did 85 to 89 before San Fran. Because I started looking up all the quakes that have happened above 5.5 at Revilla Gigedo Islands going way back.
Just call it Gigedo. Just call it Gigedo.
I already knew about the 7.2 that happened there right before San Fran.
Yeah. Ridgecrest has been relatively quiet. It's got picked up. Also, up in Mammoth area, it got picked up. A couple of earthquakes today. They call it Bishop, and then over Lone Pine. But there has been some activity. But as you can see, the volcano over here, that they pump sewage or liquid sewage down, contaminated water. And then Stagecoach, Nevada, just got banged. It's the last earthquake, 2.1. Going back to all day, we do have 3.3 that happened today in Borrego Springs, also up in Redlands. That's a San Jacinto.
Yeah.
So
it's going both inland and to the coast too, it looks like right now.
Correct. So it jumps over here, Borrego, moves on to San Jacinto, and it moves up. Now what? Oh, they're going through the door. That's right.
And so when I started looking it up, I noticed like in the 80s, it was going like 85 to 89. It was going crazy down there.
All right. And so you want to start with a link first?
Yeah, I'll just
post it in the chat
with the plate first, and
all righty.
All that. Do that first.
All right.
They're not very long, so it takes too long to go through them. One in first.
What's been happening solar-wise, Luke?
Been pretty quiet.
Is it? All right.
Yeah, like a C3. It's the biggest we've had in 24 hours.
All right. Where's the BZ right now? In the south or the north? All right. So here's the.
You have to just
The Revilla Cocos orogeny, that's mountain building. The reds are strike slip. The actually spreading. The greens are strike slip. The blue is subduction. The chicken legs moving at 25. The Pacific's moving at 76. And the spreading is spreading at 14 millimeters a year.
I take that back, Joe. The solar activity is quiet, but the aurora activity right now we're at a KP index of 7.
Oh, or G2?
Yeah, it's from all the filaments and all the stuff that's happened. Like,
all right,
past
so
few days,
that could be what's going on. Yeah, I don't know.
And there was a corona hole that was in the middle.
Yeah, it's already moved way to the right, but it's partly giving us some wind.
Yeah, BZ here a couple hours ago was about negative.
Yeah,
22.
Solar wind is 610. Density's at 3. Yeah, you're right. Oh, 499 continues to grow. Where the hell is that? Oh, that's right here. Oh yeah. Wow, you're going to catch some auroras down. Hey, Canuck might get some auroras tonight. Yeah. Says it's unsettled. X is now down to 10%. It's 50% for an M. So nothing there. All right, so go ahead and
negative 24.
So what did you learn today on Revilla plate right here?
Yeah, I'm just going to read this because it's not
okay, bud.
Then I'll go
right ahead.
Explanation. The Revilla plate is a small tectonic plate, a microplate located off the west coast of Mexico, just south of the Baja California Peninsula. It is bounded on the northwest by the East Pacific Rise, on the southwest by the Revilla Transform Fault, on the southeast by a deformation zone, and on the northeast by the Middle America Trench and another deformation zone. The Revilla plate is believed to have separated from the Cocos plate, located to its southeast about 5 to 10 million years ago. Seismicity and tomography images show that the Revilla plate dips at 40 degrees beneath the forearc region and then dips close to 70 degrees beneath the trans-Mexican volcanic fault. So basically, Colima and all the other volcanoes going across are actually related to this plate. The subduction of the Revilla plate under the North American plate in the Mid-American Trench has been the cause of the strongest earthquakes in the history of Mexico, including the largest quake in Mexico during the 20th century, which occurred on June 3rd, 1932, in the state of Jalisco. The quake had a magnitude of 8.2 with a magnitude 7.8 aftershock, both of which caused widespread casualties and damage. Now, we talked about that one before when we were trying to figure out where Long Beach quake came from in 1933, because this was all the previous year. All that crazy stuff in 32 at Colima, Jalisco.
And then it went north. Yeah, the pressure went north. Yeah.
Yeah. On October 1995, a magnitude 7.6 earthquake occurred beneath the Jalisco region and caused significant loss of life and property. And a 7.8 magnitude earthquake occurred on January 24th, 2003, near Colima, Mexico. And then they don't have it in here, but we had the one in a couple of years ago, 2022, as well there.
Well, how big was the 2015? The last earthquake, you said.
Yeah, it was like 7.6, 7.8, the one we just had like a couple years ago.
Yeah, 2015, right?
No, 2022, I think it was.
2022. What happened to the one right before that? After the Jalisco.
Yeah, they said in here 95, and then they were talking about 2003.
Oh, 2003.
Yeah.
How big was that one?
7.8, the 2003 one.
Damn.
The 95 one was 7.6. And we talked about that one too before because Ridgecrest had a swarm right before that one in 95 when Klima went off. So we've kind of talked about all those ones before. I don't remember if we talked about the 2003 one. We might have, because that was when San Simeon quake was. I think that was the same year. The San Simeon quake, I think, was 2003. So see, it's all making sense now once you start comparing them. Because it's like it almost goes around that Rivera Plate two ways, either up the coast or inland.
Well, off the Caribbean plate, we had a 7.6 a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And we've been waiting for activity to come out of it, and really not a whole lot's come out.
No, I'm still waiting for Guatemala to go big, because there's a big gap there where it's not doing anything. And that's right where the plate boundary continues on through from where the Caribbean quake was. And it appears that's what it does also whenever Drake Passage gets hit. So you usually get a big one right around the Central America near the Caribbean North American plate boundary. Which we haven't
got a Port Hardy at on the 21st was a 4.0.
Yeah.
And then a 4.1.
For some reason, it always goes up and hits Vancouver.
Vancouver, Port Hardy, yeah. That's why I just looked.
Yeah, but it'll probably do that after it does whatever it's going to do on coming up. Once it fills itself in, which I think that's what it's going for, but it's probably going to be at least a 6 in California, I'm thinking, based upon what it's doing now. Now that I've looked at all the swarms going back around that have happened around those islands. Right there. So now I got to explain that next. So we're going to.
All right, bud.
Yeah. I guess I'll explain the triple junction first. So I'll put that one in first.
I'll probably leave this map here for people because it's pretty good.
So they can see what we're talking
about. You go ahead.
Yeah, so I got to copy this and then I'll put it in for the next one because it explains the triple junction.
Well, just looking at the convergence of the corner here, the Rivera Plate, 51 going northeast and 38 going northeast. And he was saying that one of them's really deep.
Yeah.
Now it's 70 degrees beneath Trans-Mexican volcanic belt. That's what that is right there, by the way.
It's basically all the volcanoes that start with Klima and go all the way across. So it includes Popo and all those other ones. So it's actually the Rivera Plate.
The Rivera Plate drops 40 degrees and then drops 70 beneath the trans-volcanic belt. Wow.
Because they have it all like mapped and everything now, since it's had all the bigger quakes. If you look up the latest ones on it, so they show where it actually goes under and how far it's going in under there. Because it's fairly new, right? As they say, it's only 5 to 10 million years old, and they say
well, when they said that, it was
of Cocos.
They said Rivera Plate is believed to have separated from the Cocos Plate at its southeast about 5 to 10 million years ago. It's an estimate. So there's a whole lot happening 17 million years ago, all up the coast of North America. So something was happening and that continued to at least 5 million years ago. And what's interesting learning from Nick was that the Cascades were nothing but rolling hills until 3 million years ago. And all of a sudden, this major uplift has been happening. So uplift means earthquakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you continue.
Yeah, I'm just going to read it because it's only like a paragraph.
All right.
Yeah, the Revilla Triple Junction is a geological triple junction located on the seafloor of the Pacific Ocean, southeast of the southern tip of the Baja California Peninsula. At the RTJ, three tectonic plates intersect: the North American Plate, the Revilla Plate, and the Pacific Plate. The Triple Junction is often referenced as the southern counterpart of the Mendocino Triple Junction, which we already mentioned earlier. But it is not as well understood. One research effort describes it as a ridge type junction, which lies along the segment of the East Pacific Rise, which runs between the Revilla Transform Fault and the Tamayo Fault, although the third axis of the junction is not clearly defined. Part of the problem in describing the Revilla Triple Junction is that if it were truly analogous to the Mendocino Triple Junction, then it would exist at the junction of the East Pacific Rise, the Tamayo Fault, and the Middle American Trench. But thus far, there does not appear to be any evidence that the Tamayo Fault or the East Pacific Rise intersect the Middle American Trench at all, thus presenting a possible example of a diffuse triple junction. Which, well, I think
that's what I was thinking. I wonder if it's growing or if it's dying. It sounds like it's dying.
Well, if it's going under, subducting, yes. Right. Eventually, it'll go under, same as Explorer.
So that means the triple junction will move. The green dots theory.
Yeah, same as Explorer Plate and
Juan de Fuca.
Yeah, Gorda Plate. Well, and and Juan de Fuca. Yeah. But Explorer, well, actually, they debate about Explorer. They think it may already be attached to North America already. So it's already accreted. But they think Gorda is still subducting and also JDF. So actually, Gorda and Rivera should subduct before the other ones finish. Right. Because they're closer and smaller.
Probably. Maybe the angle of it. That's the Gorda. It's being pushed.
The EPR comes right into the bottom of that Revilla Plate.
All this is being pushed like that. So this plate here, this micro plate, you separate.
I think the EPR stuff is still going around the Revilla Plate to come up.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's coming up the EPR. Well, I guess even if it's coming up the other way, too, it would still have to go around it. So it's kind of the roadblock in the flow. So it's like going around one way or the other, either to the coast or inland.
Well, I think maybe 17 million years ago, this EPR was on this side of Baja California, and as it went under and came back up through a weakness in the plate and moving, well, this is all moving north now. So it used to be right here, I believe, but some people may not agree. It's up to them.
Well, I'd probably simplify it even more and say the EPR is what made the San Andreas.
I concur with that. Yeah.
And now they say all those other faults, either inland or going out to the coast or off the coast, they're still all part of the San Andreas system. So to me, probably the EPR made all of it because they're all the same type of faults. They're all strike slip, right? Majority northwest to southeast. Same way the Pacific Plate is moving. So to me,
and on this map, you can see all the earthquakes generally along the Gorda Ridge and Mendocino fracture zone. This microplate super busy. Then the one way up here in Vancouver, we watched these as well. Out here, not so much. Now there's a volcano out here, but hey, whatever. That's another day. But we're talking about this Revilla Plate.
So that's the plate stuff. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is the actual islands that are out there. So I'm going to put that one in. Because they have kind of a cool history too, but I'm not going to go too far into that.
I've always been kind of interested with those ones. And the three sisters or three nuns right up here on the Tamayo fault zone. And these ones right out here, Gigedo.
Yeah, so I put them in there. That one in.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So now I'm not going to go into all this, but because it's like the whole history of the place and who found it and why it's named the way it is and all that stuff and how long they've been paying attention to it out there.
Just tell me the geology of it.
Yeah. So these islands, the Revilla Gigedo in Spanish, islands, when the Spanish first found them, they were uninhabited, so there wasn't anything out there. So that was like back in the I think 1600s when they first found it. But they were there, and then they named them later, more in the 1800s, and then they became property of Mexico and the Colima province. And so Colima was in the 1860s was going to turn it, one of the islands, the biggest one, Socorro, into a penal colony. So that's where they're going to put all their prisoners. They never did. They just left it. So it's kind of a funny story because it was so far away. That's what from off the coast. That's what.
Well, they did it to the other island.
Yeah.
The three sisters. So.
Yeah, and so the biggest
one's right here.
There's actually 4 islands out there.
Yep, 4 of them.
Yeah. So.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. St. Benedicto, which has a volcano on it. So does Socorro. So they're all
really?
Volcanic islands. Yeah. This is going to make sense when I go further into it.
All right. Hold on here. I got to go to volcanoes.
But the two
down here and check it out.
The two that they focus on is the Socorro one and the Bacina one or Bacina. I can't remember what the name of it is. I have it here. I'll bring it up.
There's San Benedicto.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? I saw the other one.
Socorro.
Socorro's the big one.
Yeah.
And there's one way, way out there.
Yeah, Barcena is the name of the volcano that's on San Benedicto.
Hmm.
And it had a major eruption in 52. The same
in
time.
1952?
Yeah. Same time as the Chappie quake. But you're going to see this once I explain.
Hold on here.
All the eruptions happen.
52 was a busy year, too, if I remember right.
Yeah.
For quakes.
Oh, it's wild. And it's actually been erupting near Socorro since January. Because
really?
A ship that went down there, it takes research people there, and they said it was erupting way off the coast because they saw it in the water. But
an island was coming up, huh?
Well, it's like that. It has eruptions offshore the island.
Look at the
because it's a big
sound waves coming off of this. Wow.
So it erupts in other places. So they do see it if they're down there because they have a research station that they.
I can see the airport.
Yeah.
Definitely volcanic.
Fly into it, but most times they go by boats. And Socorro Island's a big tourist thing for scuba divers and stuff. It's a national park because all those islands are protected by Mexico. So you can only go there for like tours and fishing, or if you're like doing research on the islands. And they have a base on another one of them, a naval base, a Mexican naval base on one of the other smaller islands that's there. I can't remember its name. One of the other ones.
This one here has a volcano on it.
But they basically guard it, so you can't go there unless you have permission to go. And like when the fishermen come to go scuba diving and fishing, they actually don't go on the island. They're off the shore because it's a national park, protected or whatever. So you have to get permission to actually be on the islands. Clarion is the name of the one where they have the naval base. And they have like different birds and stuff there that are all protected that are on the island and different stuff. So it's quite an interesting place. Like I've seen pictures of it. I looked up pictures. It is a pretty cool place. And one of the islands has goats on it because there was.
I saw goats on the Socorro.
Yeah, there was settlers on it for a while back in like the 1800s.
Yeah, you can see little vents.
Yeah, because they had problems with like fresh water on those islands.
Right.
So
see here's the hangout place.
So it's like a interesting, crazy place.
Sure is.
And I think it takes them get there by boat. I think it said 23 hours or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty far out there, eh?
Yeah, from Mexico or Baja to get to it, where they are. So it's like crazy stuff. And they're all named like after Spanish explorers or whatever that came there. So that's where they got all the names from. Or they named it like after a holiday when they found the island. So I thought that was kind of funny. So when they found all of them. But it's pretty interesting place.
Agreed.
Anyway, after that, I started looking up all the other things, which now we're going to get into the. I did the earthquakes first because I wanted to understand how the quakes were working, and then after that, I looked up the volcanic stuff. So the next thing we're going to do is the quake history. So I'll put that in next. It's just a big long Google search link.
San Benedicto, Socorro, Mount Cerro. So edit. Paste.
And I'm just going to read what the Google AI said because it's only like 3 paragraphs.
That's all right.
Yeah. So the Revilla Gigedo Islands region, located off the coast of Mexico, has a history of earthquakes. A recent earthquake with a magnitude 5.9 struck the area on May 28, 2025, at a depth of 10 kilometers. This earthquake was located 100 kilometers northwest of Puerto Vallarta, according to the USGS. The Revilla Gigedo Islands are situated in the eastern Pacific Ocean, about 386 kilometers southwest of the Baja California Peninsula, according to the UNESCO World Heritage Center, because they have a big website about it. UNESCO World Heritage Center does. The region is known for its volcanic activity and earthquakes. In the past, the San Benedicto Island experienced a devastating eruption of the Barcena volcano in 1952, which nearly wiped out its ecosystem. The area is also known for the presence of endemic plant and animal species. The Revilla Gigedo Islands region is part of a broader seismic and volcanic zone in Mexico. Mexico has a history of destructive earthquakes, including the 1985 earthquake in Mexico City, which caused extensive damage and casualties. The Pacific and North American plates grind past each other in this area, creating strike-slip faulting, according to the Earthquakes Hazards Program. So just gave a blurb on that. And it was acting up the same area in 85. When I started looking up the quakes, I found that it was like doing 4s and 5s back in that time period too. So around the same time as the big Mexico City quake. So it was all that.
Right.
Yeah. Which to me made sense. But then when I started looking up more, it was acting up with 4s and 5s in 86, 87, 88. So in the lead up to the San Fran quake. But it was also doing it at the same time we got all those other quakes in SoCal that we looked up before. So like the Oceanside one that was offshore, the Palm Springs one, Superstition Hills was during that time, and then the Whittier quake also was in all those years. So between like 85 and 88, all those ones were going off in SoCal before, and they were like 5s or 6s before 1989, Loma Prieta happened. And when I looked this up before, when I was doing 1906, there was a 7.2 down here by those islands 7 or 8 days before the big San Fran earthquake. So I thought that was interesting. So when I started looking up all the quakes, when I did my search, I was looking for like 5s and above, because I want one to see when it was either swarming or acting up down there, to see if I can match all the quake times with the other quakes that I know about in SoCal and Northern California. And they all seem to add up, and it's also when Colima acts up as well.
When these act up, Colima acts up?
Yeah, they usually all act up together. Because the last time there was more swarms down there was right 2022, right after Colima. They weren't as big as the ones we're having now. So I'm more worried now, based upon that it's having like high 5s. Because the only 7 that they know that it's had was in 1906, right before San Fran. But it's had like high 5s and low 6s before. It had a 6.3 in 2011. So when I was looking at the list, I think that was like the next biggest one.
So it's got to be related to the subducting plate to make Nevada de Colima go off.
Yeah. And like they actually have studies that they've been linking all the historical Colima Jalisco ones to that plate when they go in and talking about it. Because I saw ones where they were looking back to everything that happened in 32 after. Well, it actually had 3. It had an 8 and at least 2 high 7s in 32 down there by Colima. So basically, at the bottom, close to the bottom of where the Rivera Plate meets the East Pacific Rise. So the studies I was looking at, they were trying to see, well, how is this relating? Because what it was suggesting was that the islands out there act up. Like at the same time, you're going to get a big Colima quake or stuff in Mexico, because that's the spot they're most worried that it can go like 8s and 7s like multiple times, because it's done it in the past. So they're kind of worried about that spot. So it's pretty interesting when I started digging into it. And now for the next one, what am I gonna? Oh, I'm gonna do the eruptions next. And that's another big Google search link. But it's pretty good because it gives me all the eruption histories of those islands.
Yeah, I'm looking also at the Maria Islands, where there's 4 of them, and Isabel.
It said reach character on it.
Isabel.
Work. I don't know.
Yeah, there's 4 islands here, and then there's the one here. The big one has
some that are closer to the land.
Pardon me. It has the jail on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Campo Laguna del Toro. That's a big jail.
So did that one work that I put in there?
I don't know what's going on. Local temp, ground control. No. Shit.
Still, I'll just have to read it.
Hold on a second. All right. Try it up. Okay. Socorro Island, located in Gigedo Archipelago, has a history of volcanic eruptions, both prehistoric has been known, with confirmed eruptions in 93, 51 as possible events in 1848, 1896, 1905. Boy, 96 and 1905 are very interesting.
Yeah.
January 93, a submarine flank eruption off the coast of Punta Tasco. That's what I'm interested in at Punta Tasco. Submarine. What year? 93.
Yeah, and now I'm just going to explain each one of those dates that it gives.
Go ahead.
When I started looking it up more, the 1993 eruption also went into 94. Well, 94 is the same year as Northridge. So you have it acting up down here at Socorro Island. Most of 93 into 94. And Ridgecrest, or not Ridgecrest, Northridge was at the start of 94. So then I look at the next one, I go, oh, 1951. So I read more about that one. I went in and looked up more stuff, and it basically went all the year in 51. Well, that was the year before Tehachapi.
Yeah, I guess that the submarine eruption was 3 kilometers west of the island. Chaos blocks came up 5 meters inside, floated to the surface without explosive activity.
And then when I looked, 1848, 1896, and 1905 are all around the same times of those San Fran quakes that we looked up all the other times. So see, it was acting up at Socorro Island all these different times, usually within a year.
Correct.
Of a bigger quake at San Fran. And then the Barcena quake eruption on the other island, St. Benedicto, was also in 52 at the exact same time that Tehachapi quake happened. So you had 2 islands down there basically erupting within the year before those bigger quakes. So I thought that was interesting once I started looking them all up, because they're all tying in with within a year of bigger quakes in California. And they say it's erupting down there now off the coast of Socorro there somewhere. They reported on, I think it was January 29th, which I find interesting because we've had all those little quakes, notable quakes in SoCal since that time, right? All the 5s and 4s.
Correct.
Because it goes back to right about the same time we were getting all the crazy fires, right? Because that was January, February. So I thought that was pretty interesting when I read that. Now they don't monitor it all the time, so I don't know. I assume it's probably still erupting down there now, but all I could find was information. They said that it was erupting off the coast of Socorro there because the researchers were on a boat doing something and they saw it wherever they were offshore, whatever it was they were doing. So they said it was erupting offshore, and this was January 24th, 29th, around that time of this year. So it's pretty interesting. So I thought that was crazy because it seems like the quakes and the down there and the volcanics are all acting up at the same time as when you get bigger ones in California, basically. Well, but not just California, because some of the years where they had Nevada quakes too. It was acting up a bit in 2019. Had fours down there, but it wasn't like crazy like what it's been other years.
Interesting that it's got explosive and effusive eruptions, so it's both sides.
Yeah, it can be big or just like little ones, offshore stuff. I can't remember which one. The Barcena one, I think that it had like a really big eruption way in the past. And well, I think they said that about Socorro too. Like the original one that made the volcano was big. But they don't. I don't think they said how far back it was, or they didn't know. So it's crazy stuff going on down there. And I guess Barcena used to be an island you could go to and like go on there, no problem, until it had that eruption in 1952, and then it wrecked all the vegetation and everything that was on that island, and killed all the unique animals or whatever that was there. So
yeah, it looks like 93 was the latest event.
Yeah, for eruptions. Because one of the things I read, I think, what did they say it has? I think it said it either has like a big quake or an eruption like every 20 to 25 years. So I think they were saying like a 6. Because it's had 6 a fair amount. But only 1.7 that they know about. That was 1906.
And that was what, right at a 7, or was it like a 7.1 or what?
7.2, yeah, 7.2, and it was like 7 or 8 days before San Francisco, 1906. So I think it was like April 10th, and the San Fran quake was like April 18th or something, I think. So it was like within a week of it going off down there. So that's why I've been kind of paying attention to that island now, even more so once I started digging into it farther.
Yeah, I found Pape Cabre. He's a Mexican Mexican guy who studies the volcano over on Socorro.
Yeah. I don't know if they're making the same connections that I am, but well, I don't know, because the studies I read about, they were saying Colima is connected to there. So I don't know why you couldn't make the connection to all the other stuff, because everything is all going there and then coming up. So it seems like to me that it's doing.
Interesting dike that comes right up through the middle. So this is like a hotspot or something that's coming from down in the crust, rising up.
Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting place. And then I wanted to get a list of like all the quakes that they
All right.
for the 100 years going there. So I did my earthquake tracker thing.
Right on.
So I'm gonna put that link in so you can see it. Because I want to see what years it was acting up with bigger quakes, and then I could figure out what it was going to do after, or what it did after. And I wanted to know about 5s and above. I didn't get into the 4s, or the list would have been way too long.
Yeah. Okay. Read an article here on Socorro that the two vents that were giving off those blocks of off Socorro Island there, blocks of rising viscolated basalt, kind of like a that those real light rocks like lapilli, but these are big blocks. They said tens of them, so less than 100, and they've been happening periodically since 1994.
Yeah.
So every once in a while they'll run into one of those blocks. So it's still definitely high velocity ascent of low viscosity magma and related to narrow conduit is also required to prevent substantial gas escape and allow formation of rictolite. The buoyant scoria is most probably ejected by intermittent lava fountaining at the fixed vents as a result of changes the eruption of velocities due to changes in the exhaled gas content of the lava. Between January 93, floating blocks of scoria and reticulate were collected in several occasions from the surface of the sea for chemical and mineralogical analysis. Major and minor element analysis include REE, as well as electron microprobe analysis of different phases revealed that the composition of the emitted lava has not changed throughout time. Blocks of basalt, SiO2 equals 40 to 47%, are highly vitric and vesicular with tubular anthrite phenocrysts up to 3 millimeters in length and minor grains of, oh my God, steritic olivine. Wow, that's got to be pretty deep. Olivine coming up. REE is a trace element composition of these rocks suggested an anomalous mantle source for the erupted alkali basalt lava. The ongoing eruption will either continue in a smaller fashion or described or eventually cease or build up a mound that reaches the surface and forms an island with the accompanying change in eruptive style. Mostly CO2, so that's kind of what the gas is coming up. And that's this article, Submarine Eruption at Socorro Island, Geochemical. I'm going to put this for those who want to dig further on chat. Chat will be over on twitch.tv/JoeSlickLive. Kilauea volcano. I wonder if the vent ever reached over a mile in evening eventing. I think that just it fills the lake, and as it fills the lake, it subsides, goes somewhere. I don't know where the hell it goes, and then it starts up again. From what I've read, but good question, the Eagles.
And I want to do a bunch of these quakes that are in the list because it's interesting.
Okay, bud, go ahead.
The years.
Are you found it? Yeah. Eden, not Eagles. Eden.
Yeah. So did you get the last link I put in there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bud.
Yeah. So what I got it to do, I wanted it to give me the ones that were bigger than 5 over the last however one that I don't know. It's probably for like 100 years. It doesn't include the 7.2 from 1906, but I think it's going back a little bit before that. So I wanted them in order of magnitude. So it gave me, and it starts with 6.3 13 years ago. So then I have to click on where it gives me to give me the exact date. So this one was Tuesday, November 1, 2011. So that was the same year we had all the other crazy things happen in 2011. 6.3. So that's the biggest one they know about that have been like recorded with an actual seismo.
In this area right now, 6.3 that happened 13 years ago.
Yeah. So they kept giving them in order.
Uh-huh.
The next one was a 6.2 37 years ago. So I clicked on that. And it said Saturday, November 14th, 1987. Well, that was the year before we had right before the Whittier quake.
Whittier quake, 87, yeah.
Yeah.
88.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So I said, oh, well, this is what it's doing when it gets big ones or bigger ones. So then I looked at the next one and it said 41 years ago, 6.1. So I clicked on that one. And that said Friday, February 17th, 1984. So this would have been the year leading up to the big Mexico City quake.
What year was the Mexico City quake?
85.
All right.
So I thought that was interesting too. So then I went to the next one because I wanted to do all the sixes first that we know about. So then the next one was 42 years ago. And it was Monday, May 9th, 1983. Well, I said, oh, well, that's interesting. 1983 is the same year as the Coalinga quake.
Yeah, I don't remember the Coalinga quake. I don't know. Maybe it didn't rock us up that bad.
Yeah. So I said, well, that's interesting. So going up that side, and it was also the same year as the big quake in Idaho. Well, there's a big quake in Idaho that year, too. Same year. So like both coast and inland. So I thought that was interesting. So I went to the next one, which was 58 years ago, magnitude 6.0. Monday, January 23rd, 67. And I'm pretty sure when I looked up 67 before, that was when there was one of the big quakes off Vancouver Island, I think, too. So it's kind of like the same pattern going up.
I'm looking it up. Venezuela had a 6.6. Colombia had a 6.8. Yeah. United Fiji.
I don't remember if there was a
Nicaragua had a 7.1. Colombia had a 7. Brazil had a 7. Peru had a 7.
Nicaragua, we're getting close to the.
Yeah, you have Peru, Brazil, Colombia, Rick James Ridge, Nicaragua, and Chile had a 7.3. So, yeah, that whole side of the world was busy this year.
I don't remember any specific quake in California that year.
I'm looking. United States Fox Islands and Alaska had a 6.8 January. Argentina started the year off at 6.2. Fox Island 6.8 February. Colombia had a 7. Rick James had a 7. Brazil had a 7. Wow.
Oh, so that's way
That's a bunch of it happened in February. March, there's Greece, 6.6. Oh, shit. There's Ecuador, 6. In April, nada. May, Greece again, 6.2. Chile, 6.1. June, Chile, 6.2. Alaska, a couple of 6s, 6.5, 6.1, 6.4. Palau. Colombia, 6.8. Venezuela, 6.6. That's Caribbean right there. Caracas, 300 dead, 1,500 injured. What year am I looking at? 1967. Pretty bad earthquake. August. Nothing. September, Peru popped with a 7. Argentina 6-7. Chile a 6-2. October, Costa Rica 6-2. Nicaragua 7-1. Man. November, Ecuador 6-1. Chile 6-3. And then December, Chile 7-3. Chile 6-3. Chile 6-7. I don't know. I got to go 68 here. Yeah, 68. Nicaragua for Chile 6-4. Sicily, a couple of bangers. Sicily, February. Trying to see if here's another Greece 7-2. Crap. There's got to be something here happened in the U.S. Nothing.
Or it's just building up to Silmar.
Yeah.
71.
Yeah, we're at 68 now. Japan had Kyushu freaking banging hard. 6-8 and a 6-5. California, Southern Cal had a 6-6 Borrego Mountain earthquake, 1968.
Oh yeah, so that was one of the.
There's the connection right there. Borrego Springs.
Yeah.
Michoacan had a 6-1, and that happened in April. So there was a Southern Cal earthquake.
Yeah, it just took longer because it was like the next year.
And Japan goes big, 8-2, 6-7, 7-9. That's a Nankai Trough, Honshu. Bomb, 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 bomb. It went 6-7, 8-2, 7-9, 6-5, 6-5, 6-3, 6-6, all in May. Wow. And in April, it had 7-5 and a 6-8. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And Japan's been awfully quiet except for Honshu.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
Another 7 in June. Peru 6-8. Guerrero 6-4. Honshu 6-1 again. A 6-3. Wow. Peru 6-5. We go into August. Oaxaca 73. Ryukyu 6-7. Shikoku 6-8. Michoacan 6. Bolivia. Iran September. Peru 6-1. Japan Hokkaido 6-7. It went north on that. Champas had a 6. The Kermitics started banging. Peru, Lima had a 6-1. And we're October. Bonin Islands have a 7-3. Hokkaido 6-5.
Oh, so I guess
North of Alaska 6-7.
When I looked at the next one there on the list, it was in
Antagonist.
66. It also had a 6 at Revilla.
Did it?
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it had 6s both in 66 and 67.
All right. In 66, small Honshu is 6. Greece is still saying hello. Northern Marianas. China. Yeah, all a bunch of Chinas.
Yeah,
Chinas.
just about the landslide in Switzerland. There is one person missing, but they evacuated the town of people pretty much and all the animals.
True.
It did its thing.
Damn, Crete. Micronesia and Peru. A bunch of 6s and stuff. And that's kind of where it seems we're at right now. 5s and 6s.
Yeah.
July, Rhode Island 6-8. Ryukyu, Taiwan, Mexico, Gulf of California had a 6-5 and 66. The Aleutian 6-9. In September, Greece 5-9. Northern Cal had a 5-9 and 66. Guerrero, another 6.
Yeah,
October.
well, that makes sense if the Rivera triple junction.
Wow. Peru popped. Peru went big, 8.1 in 1966. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge also popped with a 7.
Wow, and see, we've had Peru acting up now too with.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Peru earthquake. I don't know where it. Near Huacho. I don't know where Huacho is in Peru. Greece. Mona Passage, Argentina. New Hebrides, Argentina. Chile, 7.7. Yeah, okay. So we've done.
We didn't like all the 6s. Because then it starts with the 5.9 one that we just
And
had.
it just gets insane. If it's a repeat, the 6s will be okay, and then Peru is going to go 8, and or Chile will.
Yeah, either Chile or Peru.
Yeah,
is what I've been thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll take, or if the other ones will go first. Or
yeah, the reason we're focusing on Gigedo is because it's an indicator. It's not the earthquakes aren't starting here and moving, but they're passing through this area. And we look at some of these earthquakes, and notable earthquakes, hit the mind in remembrance. And then we go back and look those up and go, oh shoot, look at what's going on around the world. And yeah, I mean,
right now, I think SoCal's due for 6 or San Fran.
Well, we just had 3 5s in the last year in Cali, and there was a good rocker, a 7 up there in Petrolia. We had a decent quake off the coast of Oregon, but we had pretty strong quake up there in BC as well. But there's nothing up the Fairweather Fault. It's like it doesn't exist because it's just gliding along. But we are.
If we start getting 6s down there, I'm going to get.
Yeah, no shit.
Like right now, I would say whatever's going to happen, it's going to be like a 6.
Right. If I did a search here, search the catalog, custom, go 6.
And when I looked up the other ones, because I started going down through all the high 5s that were in that same list that we just did. And I found like the same years it was going off, that's when you had the high 5s or like 6 in either SoCal or San Fran.
Okay, these are the 6s in the eastern part of the Pacific. All right. We've got down here on the Pacific Antarctic Ridge. We also have near the islands here. This is on the Chile Rise. EPR, they're still calling it, but a couple of down here in Chile, a couple of 6s. We have 1 in Peru, 1 up here in Ecuador. We got 1 here in Panama. We have 1 here in El Salvador. And up here, I would guess that's not Manzanilla, but I forget what this Michoacan. That happened on the 1st of this year. Nothing up here at all. We do have 1 out here in the islands, 6.2. Tons of them through this portion of the Taman Sea, the Coral Sea, Halmahera, up here in Andaman, and then up in Burma and China, Taiwan, Honshu, Greece and Turkey, Rick James and Jan Mayen, and then the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, also the big 7.6 that hit the Caymans in February of this year. So pretty good bangers, tell you the truth, this year. There's the 7 there. There's the 7.6. There's the 7.1 Tibet. Here's the 7.7. So all of those big quakes, we have China, Burma, P and G, and then we got Tonga, and then the Caribbean plate. And it's a little bit out of balance, I think. So, gotta wonder. That's just this year, January 22 to
catch up at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be. But if it's like, say, a mid-6, depending on where it is,
right,
it cannot be good.
No.
Well, and that's if we don't get any other.
Well, we got a swarm we're working here, right? You got to call that a swarm, right? There's more than that. Mexico shows 9. So we have a swarm here. And yeah, this one's there's Caracas there. I forgot about these ones here. Interesting. I mean, you can't divine it, like make a guess. It's just, yeah. Right, back to your list.
Yeah, because the next one it talks about is the 5.9 that just happened.
Right.
Did them all in order, and there's been a bunch of high 5s before. I never went through them all, but I just clicked on certain ones there because I wanted to see what years they were, and I found when I did it, they were like all the same years. That
notable earthquakes, yeah, in Cali and other places.
Yeah, in San Francisco or inland like Nevada. Or...
Well, basically, we're saying that this Gigedo is a transitional zone, meaning it earthquakes and then shoots that power elsewhere. That's kind of what we're saying.
It redirects it like to the coast or inland when it goes around that. So it either puts it up like the Gulf of Cali inland, or it goes Baja and then to the coast. That's what it looks like it's doing.
Yeah, almost 800 feet high was the lava fountain out of Kilauea.
Yeah, and see, well, you could probably go and look it all up and see if Kilauea was acting up all these same years too, right?
Right. Yeah. And Switzerland, that massive collapse, 3.5 million cubic meters of water, mud, ice, rock, at least 3,000 meters fell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And covered part of their little town.
Usually anytime there's a really big notable quake in California, Kilauea is always acting up.
Right. Yeah. And indicators.
Yeah. So you need a bunch of things happening all at once to get a bigger quake.
Well, is there any more you want to do on this?
No, that's just it. Because you could have done a whole bunch more, but I think we've done enough to make the point.
I think we've established that it is a transition. Yeah. And we only did 1966, 67, 68 in California, and to see if that, and the western or eastern part of the Pacific Plate boundary, to see whether or not there's big pressure, and there was very substantial. So
to summarize, if those islands up there or down there are either acting up with larger quakes, so high 5s or low 6s, or there's eruptions going on, look out.
right, and hence that's why I looked up on the Mexico map, because USGS will not show it. The quakes that are happening up in Baja.
And like within a year of whatever it's doing down there.
You can see how many strong quakes.
Like you could go and do the USGS thing too, and
Yep.
do the same thing as what we just did. We were just using the earthquake.
Yeah, USGS. This is what's happening. Wait, this is what's happening to today. There's not even anything here, so whatever.
Well, they'd still have probably a bunch of the bigger ones down there, so 6s and
Yeah, they have a couple. Yeah, the 5.9s, 5.4.
Because I think the 7.2 in 1906 showed up on the USGS one too.
Well, yeah, something significant. Yeah, they can't deny that, right?
Yeah.
Well, then this is a little short one, but it is succinct and to the point. A little history behind the Gigedo fracture area and the microplate right there. And Luke, do you have any other questions that pop up in your head, or he might not be with us? He might have had somebody come by. But you anything else you want to add there, Canuck?
Nope. So maybe next one we'll do axial seamount because everybody.
Yeah, I want to look into the axial seamount as well. I don't think that's a major player, but some people fear mongering.
That isn't that big of a deal.
All right. I mean, it could still create tsunamis or whatever, but if it's a huge eruption, whatever, every 15 years or so. Interesting what's going on. So appreciate you all for hanging in there while we had a little hiccup. It happens, with these kind of events. And tomorrow I'll be on the train, so I will not be in the studio, but it'll be there live for you. Joe Slick Live, And let me see if I did this. And do I share that thing?
Yeah, well, the landslide thing is not done yet. Switzerland, it was just mainly the glacier that slid down this time, but there's still more of the mountain that's got to come yet.
Right.
So it's the Switzerland thing is still not over. So this one registered on a magnitude 3.1 on the seismo.
Mm-hmm.
But they said if the rest of what they think if the rock in the mountain comes down, that'll probably be bigger than 3.1.
All right. Well, there's a little something I have for you. Hang on.
The town is already wrecked now. Well,
Hold on. I can't hear it. I hope people can hear it. I don't know if they can. I don't know. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow evening. Love y'all. Thanks, Canuck and Luke.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.